For the cheapest coins with fast delivery and quick customer support, check out my sponsor Red Zone Coins and use code SWIFT at checkout for 20% off. So Swift family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another video on the channel, and as you can see by the title, I'm going to be picking the playoff games which are going to be starting in the next couple days. I'm definitely really excited for the playoffs. I'm going to be going through the entire bracket and picking a Super Bowl winner. Now, before I do get into the video, let me know in the comment section who you think will be playing in the Super Bowl and who you think is going to win that big game. As well, drop a like on the video or your favorite team will not even win a single game in the playoffs. Nah, let me stop. Let's get into these predictions right here. We're going to be starting off on the AFC side of things with the wild card game between the Bills and the Texans. So as you guys can see on the screen, I am going to be picking the Bills over the Texans in the first wild card matchup. In this game, essentially my thinking behind this is I feel like the Texans are just a little bit too inconsistent on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. And the Bills, I've honestly been watching more of their games recently, and they've really impressed me. At the start of the year, when they beat, let's just say some subpar competition, and they got off to a nice, like a 7-1 start or something like that. I didn't really believe in them, and then I started watching some more of their games, and I was really impressed by the way they play on defense and on offense. I feel like this will be a relatively low-scoring game, and in a low-scoring game, I'm going to have to take the Bills in this one, even though I know the Texans are at home. So kind of an upset on the first pick, but we're taking the Bills over the Texans in the first wildcard game. Now, in the final AFC wildcard game, I'm going to be picking the Patriots over the Titans. This is a tough game to pick for me. Honestly, one of the tougher ones that I think I had to pick throughout all of the playoffs. I really like the way the Titans have been playing recently, but I have to go with the Patriots at home. I mean, their defense has been really good, and I feel like the way that they play on defense, they really make the quarterback be forced to beat them, and I feel like Ryan Tannehill will end up making a couple mistakes in a big pressure moment. But honestly, if the Titans do get out to a lead at the start of the game, I would not be surprised if they do come up and win this one. I have to go with the Patriots, though. Their defense has been incredible earlier on in the year. I feel like Bill Belichick will be able to make the adjustments necessary to shut down the Titans' offense. And yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one, but definitely an upset alert. The Titans could win this, but we're going with the Patriots in the final wildcard game on the AFC side of things. Now, I've put up the winners of the next two wildcard games on the screen right now, but let's get started off by talking about Seahawks at Eagles. Seahawks at Eagles is a relatively intriguing matchup. I don't think it's going to be an incredibly good game. I feel like it'll end up actually being a relatively sloppy game. A few turnovers by both teams, but Russell Wilson, I really just can't pick against him in this matchup. The Eagles are totally depleted on both sides of the ball. The Seahawks are also pretty banged up, but I feel like they're going to be able to get the win in this one. I feel like they'll actually be able to run the ball a bit better than they did against the 49ers. At the end of the game, they were actually able to run the ball relatively effectively. I feel like they're able to get back to that against the Eagles, and I think that they're going to be able to get this win. I feel like it'll actually be a relatively close game, but a sloppy game at the same time. But I'm going to pick the Seahawks in this game right here. The next matchup is going to be the Vikings at the New Orleans Saints. This game, I feel like it either is going to be a nail-biter and a really good game or an absolute blowout. And that all depends on if the Vikings and Kirk Cousins are able to play well on offense. In watching the Vikings in the past couple weeks, their offensive line has been very suspect, and also Kirk Cousins has been pretty bad when he has to play from behind. When Kirk Cousins can get the lead and they can run play action and stuff like that, they're a pretty hard team to stop on offense. But if the Saints can get out to, like, let's say a 2-touchdown lead in the first quarter, and the offense is able to click for the Saints at the start of the game, I feel like this one could be a blowout. I think it actually is going to end up being a not that close game. I feel like Kirk Cousins gets down early and then ends up forcing a couple passes and making some mistakes. Now let's get into the AFC divisional round, starting it off with the Bills coming to Baltimore. This game, I think, will be similar to Patriots and Titans. People are going to expect that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to easily win this game. They'll blow all over the Bills. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens haven't lost a game in months. But no, this one's actually going to be much closer, and I think the Bills could win this game. I have to pick the Ravens, but if you guys remember, the Ravens and Bills actually did face off not that long ago, and if the Bills were able to play just a little bit better on offense, they would have been able to win that game. They did, I think they were actually the best team that's played defensively against the Ravens in months. So if they're able to replicate that performance, I feel like, unfortunately, Josh Allen won't be able to win them the game in the clutch moment. So I have to go with the Ravens in this matchup, but I think it's actually going to be a closer game than people do expect. Next up, we have the Patriots going into the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. Now, in this game, I honestly don't think this one's going to be incredibly close. The last time these two teams played, it was a pretty close game. The Chiefs played pretty bad in the second quarter. Or in the second half, sorry. They were totally dominant in the first half against the Patriots, and I feel like it kind of stays that type of game throughout the entire matchup. The reason for this is the Chiefs are honestly one of my favorite teams to watch right now. Surprisingly, their defense has been incredibly good recently, underratedly good, and Patrick Mahomes has also started to kind of return back to his MVP form, I guess you could say. They've also been able to run the ball a little bit better than they have been in previous years, which is important in cold weather playoff games. But I just see the Chiefs getting this win right here. I feel like the Patriots offense is going to get down early, and then they won't be able to climb back in the game, just because it's really hard the way the Patriots play offense to score consistently, taking these long drives. There's so many different areas where they could screw those drives up, whether it be penalties, whether it be turnovers or sacks. There's just so many potential for negative plays when the Patriots use these long methodical drives, and I feel like they just won't be able to keep up with the Chiefs offense, especially if the Chiefs can get ahead playing at home and let the crowd really get into this game. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one over the Patriots and advance them to the conference championship against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, on the NFC side of things, we have the Seahawks and 49ers, a rematch of what have been potentially the two best Game of the Year candidates, both when the Seattle Seahawks played in San Francisco and when this game was played in Seattle. This time it's in San Francisco again, and honestly, I don't see this game being as close as the other two have been. San Francisco has been incredibly dominant in the first half of both of the times these teams played, and Seattle was able to claw their way back in the second half. If we think back to the last time these two teams played, which was literally just a couple days ago, Seattle, I think, only stopped them once on offense the entire game, and it was on the last drive to get their offense the chance to win the game. Seattle's defense has been unable to stop San Francisco. Like, let's be honest here, they've been unable to stop San Francisco, and in that last matchup that they played, Seattle converted on so many third downs. If we just use the probabilities, they're not going to be able to convert on that many third downs the next time they play. I honestly don't think this game is that close, but if San Francisco lets Seattle hang around at the end of the game, you never know. I think San Francisco is going to put them away early, but you never know when the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson are playing. Honestly, it seems like it's a close game no matter what when they play. That last game they played, felt like it was a blowout the entire way, and it ended up being pretty close down the stretch. But I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers in this one. Their defense is really nice, their offense is really underrated, and I think they get the win and move on to the conference championship. Now, the other divisional round matchup is between the Saints and the Packers. As you can see, I picked the Saints in this one. In my personal opinion, I think the Packers are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL this year. If we look at their schedule, before we actually get into this matchup, their best win all year is against the Chiefs. Now, you might be thinking, okay, the Chiefs are a good team, but this was the Matt Moore-led Chiefs, and they barely won that game. I think they only won by a touchdown. So the Packers, I don't think, have really played a high level of competition this year. I feel like the Saints have been relatively battle-tested. They've played some hard games. They'll have played last week. Their offense has been clicking. I think in this game, also, it's going to come down to who can control the trenches. Both teams want to run the ball. Well, everyone is going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Both of these teams want to run the football. The Packers are a run-first team, and if the Saints can establish the run game, they'll be happy to run the football all game long. In my opinion, I think the Saints' defensive line and their offensive line will be able to win that matchup. I also think that Sean Payton will be able to out-coach Matt LaFleur in this game. Matt LaFleur seems to be a little bit unwilling to kind of adapt as the game goes on. I was watching Packers and Lions, and I feel like some of the play calls were relatively vanilla and similar to what the Lions had seen all game long. So that's why I'm going to be picking the Saints in this one. I think their defense is also pretty underrated, and their offense has been absolutely clicking in the last few weeks. They're going to go into Lambeau Field, get a win, and we will now pick the conference champion. So on the AFC side of things, as you can see on the screen, I am picking the Chiefs over the Ravens. This game is going to be played in Baltimore, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. These two teams did play earlier this year. It was a while ago, but I feel like if the Chiefs can follow the similar blueprint that they used last time they beat this team, which is get out to a lead early, I feel like they'll be able to win. I feel like whoever honestly gets out to a lead early is going to win. I feel like the Chiefs are just able to do that in this game. When we think about how you have to beat the Baltimore Ravens, it is get out to a lead early, force them to kind of get out of their game plan. Their game plan is to take a 7-minute drive down the field, running the football almost, let's say, like 70% of the time if they're up. And if the Chiefs are able to get up early, they'll kind of force Baltimore to adapt and play a game style that they don't want to play. I also really like the way the Chiefs defense has been playing in previous weeks. I feel like they'll be able to get a few key stops throughout the game. And I really like also how their offense has been doing in the past couple weeks. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to go into Baltimore and get an upset, knock off the Ravens, end their like 13-game win streak, which will be at this point. And yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC side of things. Now on to the NFC side of things. This is a very tough pick. Saints going into 49ers for this NFC Conference Championship matchup, a rematch of a very good playoff game that occurred about 10 years ago. So Saints going into 49ers. In this one, as you can see on the screen, I picked the 49ers in this game. If you don't know, I am a Saints fan, but I have to pick the 49ers in this one. Now, the reason why I picked the Niners in this one is just because I'm concerned about the way the Saints defense is going to be able to handle the Niners offense. Honestly, Kyle Shanahan, who the play caller is for the 49ers, he coached in Atlanta, and whenever the Saints would play against Atlanta, they would always put up big points against our defense. They honestly just know how to beat us on defense. Now, when it comes to the Saints on the offensive side of the ball, going against the 49ers defense, the Saints were able to put up points in bunches in that game, but I feel like the 49ers defense is just a little bit too talented to allow that to happen again. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like Drew Brees will end up maybe throwing a couple of picks in this game, and I just feel like the 49ers will be able to get the win. That's what I'm picking, just going with a gut feeling here. Unfortunately, as I am a Saints fan, picking the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. So now we have our Super Bowl matchup, which is going to be the Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers clashing in Miami. I'm going to be picking the Chiefs in this game right here. Now, a couple reasons why are basically how the Chiefs beat you. Recently, the Chiefs have been able to run the ball, not effectively, but let's say explosively. They've been able to hit on a couple big, long run plays. If they can continue to do that, that'll be just enough to get their play-action game really working well against the 49ers defense. Another way that the Chiefs can beat you is depth at wide receiver. The 49ers have been beaten in the slot, it seems like, a bunch recently. It seems like that's where teams have been able to expose them, and the Chiefs definitely have some depth and speed at the wide receiver position, as well as Travis Kelce over the middle of the field. That seems like it's the area of the 49ers defense where they can be beaten. Jared Cook was able to really dissect the 49ers defense, so a good tight end is a way to beat the 49ers on offense. Now, as we flip to the other side of the ball, the Chiefs defense, I feel like it'll be able to maybe just force a couple of turnovers in this game, and that's all they need to just get their offense a couple extra possessions. And honestly, that's kind of the reason why I'm going to pick them. I feel like Jimmy G, he has been really good. He's been underrated. People think that he's bad, but I feel like he's actually been incredible throughout this year. Now, I feel like he's just going to throw maybe a couple picks in this game, maybe one pick or maybe a fumble or something like that, just enough to get the Chiefs to get the ball back on offense, those extra 2 possessions, which could be the difference. So yeah, that is going to be your Super Bowl champion. Comment down below what the matchup will be and who you think will win. And until next time, fellas, I'm out. Peace.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.